Hi everyone, I am Sargam Arora and I welcome you back to your very own English literature classes as organized by BST. I know it's a very difficult time for all of us. We all are here at our home, working from home, studying from home, everything, but we always need to maintain the pace of this life. We all have to prepare for the next exams. So you all are preparing for different exams, SSC, CTET and UGC NET. So I hope you all are studying at home and doing well, keeping up with the lectures. I know it's difficult with everybody being at home, your kids, your family, everyone. It's difficult to find time out for yourself and your studies, but you really need to keep sane and calm your mind and study if you wish to clear the exams. Also, I wanted to talk about the new exam dates which have been finalized. So a tentative schedule has been passed out for UGC NET. The exam is going to be held after 15th of June or maybe after the month of June. So it's a bit delayed now, but it's going to happen anytime. I hope you all have filed the applications and preparing for the exam. So I think in the previous class it was a live session. You all had attended with me John Dryden, so which belongs to the neoclassical age or the restoration age, which comes under the head of neoclassical age. So I think this is going to be a conclusive lecture for neoclassical age, so that we can then start with the romantic age, and it's going to be a live session. As I said in the previous class that we are going to finish up with the previous lecture, neoclassical age. So here I am doing it again for you. So we have done John Dryden, so we had to start writing the different contemporaries of John Dryden. I'm going to start with that. I hope you all have studied the important works of John Dryden in detail as discussed in our class. They do ask you questions from those books. Okay, so first we are going to write about the dramatists of the Restoration Age. These all are contemporaries of John Dryden, after whom the age has also been named Restoration Age, or the age of John Dryden, or the age of Dryden, 1660 to 1700. So now we are going to write about the dramatists or the playwrights of that age. Okay, so main dramatist or playwright of the Restoration Age are: first one, George Etheredge. George Etheredge, Etheregge, 1635 to 1691. He's an English playwright. Okay. And his first play was The Comical Revenge, Revenge, or Love in a Tub, Tub. The Comical Revenge or Love in a Tub, 1664. And it was first performed at the Duke's Theatre, very famous theatre of that age, Duke's Theatre, DUKE', Duke's Theatre, in 1664, the same year. And in 1668 he came out with another play, She Would If She Could. She Would If She Could, 1668. This was also a comedy. And then very famous work of his, in 1676 we have The Man of Mode, M-O-D-E. The Man of Mode. And the Man of Mode has a very famous character, Sir Fopling Flutter. Sir Fopling, F-O-P-L-I-N-G. Fopling Flutter, F-L-U-T-T-E-R, double T that means. Surfopling flutter. So they may ask you a question from this work regarding the character. Surfopling flutter is a famous character. Okay. And another important fact regarding this writer, he was considered to have introduced the comedy of manners, very famous genre of the Restoration age, which was actually introduced in this age, comedy of manners. All right. So now I'm going to move on to the next playwright, William Wycherley. William Wycherley. I hope this is visible to you. Wycherley. Wycherley. William Wycherley. 1640 to 1750. 1640 to 1715. I think earlier I said 50, but I meant 15. 1640 to 1715. Okay. Wycherley went to Oxford, but he didn't complete his degree. And his first play was Love in a Wood. WOOD. Love in a Wood. 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 1671. And it was performed by the Kingsmen. Performed by the Kingsmen. Performed by Kingsmen at Theatre Royal. At Theatre Royal. ROYAL. Okay. And then he came out with two another plays which are considered the best plays of his career. He became very famous when this play was performed, his first play, Love in a Wood, but his most successful plays are The Country Wife. They may also ask you a question from this one. The Country Wife. This was performed in 1675. And then we have next one, The Plain Dealer. Deal, the one who deals, dealer. DEALER. The Plain Dealer, 1677. Okay, now I am going to move on to the next writer, William Congreve. William Congreve. CONGREVE. 1670 to 1729. 1670 to 1729. And he went to Trinity College, Dublin. Trinity, TRINITY, Trinity College, Dublin, along with Jonathan Swift. Along with Jonathan Swift. I'm sure all of you know who Jonathan Swift is. Okay, and his first book was written when he was 17 years old, Incognito. Incognito, Incognito, which was a romantic novel and published a few years later. Incognito, a romantic novel published a few years later in 1692. Okay, and then his first play, The Old Bachelor. The Old Bachelor. The Old Bachelor. It was first performed in 1693 and it was a very successful play. The Old Bachelor, 1693. Okay, and who was the old bachelor in this play? The character who acted as the old bachelor was Hartwell. Hartwell. The old bachelor was Hartwell. Okay, and then we have his other plays, The Double Dealer. So don't get confused between Wycherley's The Plain Dealer and William Congreve's The Double Dealer. Okay, The Double Dealer, 1694. Then we have Love for Love, 1695. Love for Love, 1695. Then we have The Morning Bride. Mon, M-O-U, not the morning नहीं बोल रही हूँ मैं, I am saying The Morning Bride. N-I-N-I-N-G. The Morning Bride, 1697. And his well-known play, the play they are actually going to ask you a question from, is The Way of the World. The Way of the World. Pick up in most of the question papers, 10 years, pick up 10 years and you will see in most of the question papers you get a question from this one, The Way of the World. So you read a detailed summary of this one, read about the characters, read about the storyline, read about the different versions, everything you need to know about this one, The Way of the World. Okay, so the story is based, it is actually a love story of Mirabelle and Millamont. Love story of Mirabelle and Millamont. I hope this is clear to you. M-I-L-L-A-M-A-N-T. Millamont. This play was, really praised by the critics. It got him critical acclaim, but it was not successful. Today we know its value. Okay, and he stopped writing plays altogether after this one, after the failure of this one on the stage. Okay, next one. Aphra Behn. Most of you might have heard of this name. Aphra Behn, might have even read a few of the plays by her. One of them they teach you in graduation in Delhi University. The rover, very famous. Aphra Behn, 1640 to 1689. She was the first ever playwright to earn through her pen. She was writing and she was making a living out of her plays. Okay, first ever woman to do that. So you need to remember her name. Aphra Behn, 1640 to 1689. She is considered to be the first professional women writer. Her first play was The Forced Marriage. The Forced, F-O-R-C-E-D, The Forced Marriage. It appeared in 1670. We have a lot of plays written by her. There is a long list. The Forced Marriage, 1671. Then we have The Amorous Prince, Amorous, A-M-O-R-O-U-S. The Amorous Prince, 1671. The Amorous Prince, 1671. Then we have The Dutch Lover. The Dutch Lover, D-U-T-C-H. Dutch Lover, 1673. And then we have one tragedy written by her. Tragedy written by her. Abdelazer. A-B-D-E-L-A-Z-E-R. Okay, and after this she wrote comedies, witty plays. Okay, and one such fine example is The Town Fop, F-O-P. Okay, the year for this one is 1676. Abdelazer, 1676. And then we have The Town Fop. The Town Fop, F-O-P. Same year, 1676. Okay, then her very important and very famous play, The Rover. The Rover. (1677), Part 1. Remember this detail. Part 1 performed in 1677 and Part 2 came out in 1681. Is it clear? I hope it is. I have this habit of confirming my students if they are clear about this. Since you guys are not here and it is a recorded class, I find it very different. But of course we have no other way. So we have to do it. We had never ever thought that we would be doing such things in our life. But it's okay. We all have to alter our ways if we want to fit in. Okay, and if we want to do something, if you guys want to achieve something, if you wish to clear the exam, you have to adjust to this way. Okay, so then we have Sir Patient Fancy. Next play by her, Sir Patient Fancy. Sir Patient Fancy, 1678. 1678. Then we have The Young King, 1679. The Young King, 1679. Then we have The Roundheads. The Roundheads. Till now, I think all of you know who Roundheads were referred to as, Whigs. Okay, it refers to the members of one political party, the Whigs. The Roundhead, 1681. 1681. Then we have Like Father, Like Son, 1682. Like Father, Like Son, 1682. And the last one, The Emperor of the Moon. The Emperor of the Moon, 1687. Okay, so out of all these plays you have to study only one in detail, and that is The Rover. You have to study this one in detail, The Rover. The story centers around two pairs, Helena and Wilmore. So there are two couples and the story revolves around them. First couple is Helena and Wilmore, and second is Florinda and Belville. Florinda and Belville. 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 Okay, then we have novels written by her. The novel which is very very famous, and they ask you questions from this. You might see questions from this novel in a few of the question papers 10 years. Okay, Urunuku. Urunuku. And it was published in 1688. 1688. It is the story of an African prince, and the name of the African prince is Orunuku. Okay, it is the story of an African prince who falls in love with a young woman. The prince falls in love with Imoinda. African names. Imoinda. And you know, when their love is discovered, because a prince is never supposed to have love for a general or a woman who belongs to the masses. So when their love is discovered, Imoinda is sold into slavery to Suriname. Okay, is it clear? And Urunuku is himself a slave owner. He is a prince, and he himself is lured by an English captain on a ship, and he is taken into slavery by that English captain. Okay, the prince himself is taken into slavery to Guyana. Imoinda goes to a different place, and the prince is taken into slavery to a different place. You need to remember the places they have been taken into. Urunuku goes here, if you wish to remember it this way. Imoinda goes to this place. Okay, so they both are united in the end, and the prince tries to attain freedom, but they both are caught and beaten badly, and they realize there is no way out. So the prince kills Imoinda, and she is pregnant, so he kills his child also at that time, and he is about to kill himself. But what happens when he is about to kill himself? He is captured. Okay, so this is a very radical novel from that point of view. And another fact about Virginia Woolf. Aphra Behn, I'm sorry. Virginia Woolf actually said something about her which you need to hear and remember. All women together ought to let flowers fall upon the grave of Aphra Behn, for it was she who earned them the right to speak their minds. So Virginia Woolf, a modern writer, said this about Aphra Behn. Hear it again, and also if you wish you can write. I'm going to go a bit slow this time. All women together ought to let flowers fall upon the grave of Aphra Behn, in continuation, dot dot dot, three dots, for it was she who earned them, for it was she who earned them the right to speak their minds. Okay, now we are going to write about the other prose writers of the Restoration age. First one, we're done with the playwrights, I'm sorry. So we have now other writers, and the list begins with Samuel Butler. Samuel Butler, Samuel Butler, Samuel Butler, 1613 to 1680. His timeline is 1613, 13 to 1680, 80. We are not going to go into detail of all their works. We are only going to mention the works which are really important from exam point of view, and they might ask you a question from these. Samuel Butler, 1613 to 1680. He is best known for his mock heroic poem Hudibras, Hudibras, Hudibras. It is a satire on the supporters of Oliver Cromwell. A satire on the supporters of Cromwell, or the Cromwellians as they say it. And it was published only after the restoration of monarchy in 1663. And the name Hudibras has been derived from the melancholy knight in Spenser's The Faerie Queene. Write this point. The name Hudibras has been derived from the hardy and melancholy knight, in Spenser's, Edmund Spenser's The Faerie Queene, in double inverted commas, The Faerie Queene. And in this work, this was published in 1663 for that matter, 1663, and in this work, a typical Puritan has been described as, write down, a typical Puritan has been described as a hunchback monster, जिसकी कमर झुकी हुई है, a hunchback monster, something like mantras. Okay, and then a pedantic, pedantic, a pedantic, comma, stubborn, 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 and frowsy, frowsy, frowsy country justice, Okay, and he also got a reward from the king when he wrote this work. All right, now let's move on to the next writer, John Bunyan. Bunyan, John Bunyan, 1628 to 1688. His writings were majorly religious, so he's also considered to be a preacher. And in 1653 he had started preaching, and he was imprisoned for this, for illegal preaching. And during his time in the prison, that he wrote his most famous work, The Pilgrim's Progress. Yes, you might have all heard this name, also seen it in the question papers everywhere. The Pilgrim's Progress. It is a Christian allegory. It is a Christian allegory which traces the life of Christian, the character, Christian, also the protagonist, from the city of destruction to salvation. From the city of destruction to salvation. This was about the first part of the book, and the second part of the book deals with his wife, Christian's wife. Her name is Christiana. Just put an A at the end. Christiana, and their sons. Okay, also I want to talk about the characters of this work. These characters are not individual personalities, but they are embodiments of moral qualities. Okay, like their name, Christian, Christiana, great heart, hopeful, etc., etc. So these are the names of characters. They are actually types. They are embodiments of certain moral values or virtues rather than they are individual personalities. Okay, we also have his another important work, which is his spiritual autobiography, Grace Abounding. His spiritual autobiography, Grace Abounding. Okay. These two are important. Okay, next writer that you have to remember very well is John Locke. John Locke, Locke. Inflected spelling. John Locke, Locke. 1632 to 1704. 1632 to 1704. Okay, his most important work is An Essay Concerning Human Understanding. An Essay Concerning Human Understanding. There are other works by him, but you need to remember only this one, An Essay Concerning Human Understanding. This is divided into four parts, four books rather, and I want you to read its summary on Wikipedia. You will easily find it there. So I don't want to waste time speaking out the summaries of the works which are easily available. I'm going to tell you the sources from where you can study, and that will be enough. So for this you need to study it from Wikipedia. Okay, and the rover, as I said, you might find it, the summary everywhere, it's available on the net. Trusted sources, as we discussed in the class already, as we have already discussed it in the class. um, First is Wikipedia, and then you have other website. You can also find articles on JSTOR if you wish to go for further reading. Okay, so for further reading, I was saying, for the detailed summary, you can go for Shmoop and all those sites where they give you all the detailed summaries and plots and details about the characters. Okay. Okay, so this was all about the writers, and then now we are going to move to the major diarists. This was an age of diarists also. Two major diarists of this age, John Evelyn and Samuel Pepys. We had already talked about them when we were starting with this lecture. First part of neoclassical age, John Evelyn and Samuel Pepys. John Evelyn and Samuel Pepys. John Evelyn, it is, both the names are taken always together for some reason. John Evelyn, 1620 to 1706. 1620 to 1706. Okay, and after the coming back of Charles II, he entered the royal court. He was elected as a member of the Royal Society. And in 1661, he published a book on pollution. Okay, in 1661, he published a book on pollution with the title The Inconvenience of the air and smoke of London dissipated. The inconvenience of the air and smoke of London dissipated. DISSIPATED. And this was followed by next work, A Disclosure of Forest Trees. 1664. A Disclosure of Forest Trees. 1664. And he is a diarist. So he began his diary when he was 11 years old, and he published it in 1818. 1818 में publish करवाया under the title Memoirs, write down, Memoirs illustrative of the life and writings on Memoirs illustrative of the life and writings of John Evelyn. Writings of John Evelyn. Okay, moving on to Samuel Pepys, 1633 to 1703. Okay, he began his very famous diary in 1660, and it covers events from 1660 to 1669. (1660 to 1669). but his diaries were published very late in the 19th century, in the year 1825. And the title is The Diary